This going, shall we? Boom, baby, boom. Rise and shine. It's your morning motivation time. I'm your host with the mostest, Mark Saint. And it's cold out here, believe it or not. It's fucking cold outside. I'm gonna get back on the inside. I had to sew the sign, but just like everything in time, it will change shortly. So it was just like my homies were posting the other day that said something to the effect of course this dude would call me in the middle of my show. Let's see what he. Can you hear me? Is my audio back? Yes, my audio should be back. I just had a phone call. Literally, as soon as I started the show, somebody was trying to print some tickets for your boy, talking about I don't know, like aquafoil or security measures on their tickets so they don't get copied. So like I literally start the show at 11:11. Usually start the show at 10:10, and this dude came in and yes, perfect. Thank you, bro. So yes, we got audio and they cut it off. It's so weird to have someone call right there. 100% perfect. Okay, cool. So here we are. Started the show. Let me restart it. Boom, baby, boom. Rise and shine. It's your morning motivation time. Your boy Marky Satan is here with plenty of smoke. And yes, I'm getting messages as we speak because homies are needing business and it's Friday and I would like to help my friends out. They didn't know that I was doing my show, and technically, um, business before pleasure. We'll just say it like that. But the pleasure is in hand this morning, right here. You see that? Boom, baby, boom. Your boy Marky Saint has got some mad flour, and I'm not letting it interrupt my show. Some people you never hear from, and then all of a sudden they're interrupting the show. So this is a different type of weed that my homie has grew himself. I got two other different kinds, and this morning I wanted to smoke it because you get your first time high in the morning and you want to really test something out. Mm, mm. So this is what I do instead of being high on the third blunt, fifth blunt, seventh blunt, whatever it is, and then I'm just high. I wanted to billionaire blunt wrap this. I have some other weeds, like two different kind of weeds, and sometimes I mix the salad. But this morning I wanted to break up some weed and smoke a specific strain and see how it goes from the Adam Dunn show. My buddy's Adam Dunn, and get it going. So went to his party because I printed the shirts and he's my friend and I want to support him. But I didn't make it to any parties last night. I was too tired to do it. And that's when the FOMO comes out, right? That's what ends up happening when you do something in your life is that you end up having it. This guy just won't fucking stop. He acts like I don't give a fuck about his tickets. I never hear from him and all of a sudden he's blowing up my show. Even if I try to explain it to another human being, they'll get butthurt and say, hey, I'm doing my show. It's important to me. They'll be like, well, fuck you. I'll go find someone else. That's why I'm saying this morning, no more FOMO. If I was to lose the business, I was to lose the business. Some of these high end guys, they don't know how highfalutin they are. Instead of, being realistic and understanding, it's more demanding. And if you don't do what they say they're going to do, then they'll send their business elsewhere. And I have a lot of friends, they're my friends, that act that way. And I know them as friends, but they don't treat business as a friendship thing. It's like what you can do for me right now, and what have you done for me lately. And if you're in those kind of situations, those people will always try to take more of your time and energy than you wish to. And that's what something I was going to have. No more FOMO. If you weren't there, then you weren't supposed to be there. You get what I'm saying right now? And your energy wasn't supposed to be there, and the person that you weren't supposed to be wasn't supposed to be there. And only because you were there and you show up will you have that inclination. I know a lot of people are trying to catch up to the Joneses instead of catching up to themselves. And this is the whole big thing of FOMO is exercising, right? The only requirement for someone that exercises and to fully recover is sleep. Our natural sleep schedule is what heals us, our minds, our new energy backpack. I always wish I had another energy backpack right here so I could just plug myself in, go into the game, and take out all the parties. But here in Vegas, that's not so easy. There's a lot of energies going on around, and sometimes you don't have the energy. Maybe you spent the energy the day before, like I did, and my feet were shot. My whole attitude was shot, and I just didn't go anywhere. And my buddy was like, man, I pulled the ripcord and I went home. And I guess there was like Red Man and Method Man and all the mans were out there performing. And of course, the place looked packed and everybody's showing it off and going live. Multiple of my friends are going live and showing it off. And oh, that smells so good. And that'll set me off for some FOMO when really and truthfully, I could have easily been there and I could have easily found the energy, not easily found the energy because I was exhausted, but being able to say, that's where I was and I was there and I made it and other people could see me gets me in a cycle of not sleep, of not resurrecting myself or rejuvenating myself. I end up running myself into the ground. And that's something that I had to say, no more FOMO. I don't want any FOMO. If I choose sleep, that's what it's going to have to be. And I'm not going to get on anything that's alternative thinking, especially like cocaine or something like that a lot of people do. Get on the Red Bulls, the energy drinks, anything to get themselves back in the game so they can crash later. There's nothing in our lives that, like any human being, every human being, like I was talking about, not meeting your heroes, every human being that has to take a shit, right? Needs sleep. Even the plants, when we go in for when we're growing weed, like these kind of awesome nugs that I'm rolling right now, when you're growing weed, they even need sleep. There's a lot of people that pump 18 hours on their plants and get them to grow. But guess what? They also need 24 hours of sleep. So out of the 18 hours, they get 6 on, 12 on, and then they do 12 and 12. So literally, when they're trying to make babies and grow the flower, the buds, the babies, they need at least 12 hours of sleep. They need the signaling from the sun to tell it that it's going through a gestation period. And that's something I don't think any of us give ourselves, is we don't give ourselves a resting period. We don't give ourselves a resting at all. It's one of the things that even happens inside like the trucking industry, where they do a lot of amphetamines to stay awake and pull more hours, knowing damn well that they'll crash later. So it's just one of those things where we have to live a balanced lifestyle. I live in a city that's very unbalanced. It'll take all the energy that you have, and most people are like, fucking Vegas, yeah. And then you see them at the airport and they look like they're death warmed over. Yeah, all of us have that opportunity to be a fucking rock star and then a bed star. You get what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna need the couch, you're gonna need recovery, you're gonna need something. And I wouldn't be able to do this show in the morning if I didn't have my sobriety. I'd be peeling myself off the couch, trying to figure out a fucking way to look normal or feel normal. And then you end up going to, like, I don't know, hangover heaven or something, where they put a needle in your arm and get you to get rejuvenated, put all the electrolytes in your system. They literally do this, dude, here in Vegas. It's called hangover heaven. We wrap their car, actually. So it's a whole business of people trying to maximize their energy, especially when you come into Vegas and you only got so much time here and you want to be at every event and shake everybody's hands, and then you only got one set of feet, one set of backs, and one battery pack. We have to be economical with how we spend our energy. The inner me needs that energy. And I know you know what I'm talking about. So when we're looking at other people's lives so closely, through social media, and getting easily jealous of people and go, oh man, they must have the most awesomest life. That's what I talked about yesterday. You don't want to meet your heroes. Not only did the millionaire blow me off and stop answering my calls, But I ended up not interviewing the guy. I ended up not going to the convention. I'm just resting myself, smoking some good weed, and taking care of a friend, believe it or not. So my FOMO was, and I always call it this, but trust and believe me, it's happened, and this is why I call it this, the Snoop Dogg tickets. It was one time my friend, I think it was their birthday or my birthday or something like that, and they were supposed to come to my event, and then they didn't show up. And what had happened was they had like got some Snoop Dogg tickets. They had got some last minute super cool tickets and wanted to go to this show instead of doing their obligation to me and be there for my birthday. And that's something that you have to ask yourself. Are you going to be there for your friend? Like my best friend last night, fuck, he had a hell of a day. He got fired, downsized at Yamaha, right? The whole department's downsized. He's been there for 2 years, working his way up from 7-Eleven and finally working at the motorcycle place. And what do? They just fire you. They literally sent him his last check. No swan dance, no cake, no golden watch. He's been busting his ass, and the whole department disappears today. And in fact, he knew before all of his friends. And what else happened? His girl got into an accident on the freeway, and it was her fault. Luckily, everyone was all right. But what I did is I brought him a big old sack of weed because I wanted him to be all right. He didn't have no weed. He was crying. And, men cry too, dude. And we don't give ourselves none of that kind of protection, that we're not going to always be all right, and that we're not always going to be strong, and we're not always going to be smart, and all these other things that are required of men. There are going to be times where all of a sudden you can't provide, and now you got your car payment, you got your motorcycle payment, you got something that you're going to owe, and now you're kind of married to the gig, and you're dependent on that money, and they have no dependence on you whatsoever. There's no swan song, there's no waving you off. It's just like, you worked here for 2 years and it doesn't matter in 2 days. And it's just so amazing that we put so much energy into these corporations and places, and lay off Twitters and laying off everybody, bro. They don't mind that you don't have to pay your bills anymore, that you don't have to exist. They only needed you when they needed you. So it's really weird to have a FOMO of like, oh man, I really wish I had a job, and that they love me, and then any moment now that it can be downsized, and that you can be what do they call it, reduced. And it's just so weird that we put up all these kind of going to work in the morning, 6 a.m., 7 a.m. every morning for two years, and they could just fire you like that. We have such a weird thing of being envious of things that don't have any stationary products. They don't stick fucking around. And that's what it was like. You put in all this energy. You say brutal. Yeah, super brutal, bro. So he was crying, bro. He's like, I got my wedding coming up. I got Thanksgiving. I got Christmas. How am I going to make my motorcycle payment? I could have been up in the club rubbing elbows with people that don't like me and don't like up my stuff, or I can go to my best friends, bring them a sack and smoke with them in the end, and just be there for somebody. That was my choice last night, to be there for somebody and not be in the FOMO. And even after I left his house, I kind of had that idea, well, at least I'm kind of dressed up. I guess I could go to these events, but that's not where my heart was at. And I think that's the important part of us doing things, is not to do things out of jealousy. The energy won't be there. Not the doing things out of fear of missing out. That energy won't be there either. If we start chasing our tails like dogs, we're never going to make it anywhere. And that's something that I had to really awaken myself to. Is just like, I am wanting to be in the center of tension. I am wanting to be around the events that everybody else is at, all the girls, all the fun, all the actors, all the celebrities. But at the same time, my body is wanting me to get off my feet, and my body was wanting me to rest. And if I don't have myself unstressed, then even if I go and follow my fear and get into that motion and ocean, I'm still without the energy that I need to be efficient in that moment. And that's something that I find a lot of people that will do. We just think that all we have to do is show up. Is like the energy that we put, say you're there, you're being, the person that you're supposed to meet and all these other things, is putting that energy into that situation. It's holding us there, right? Like, you don't get to be in another situation. I can't be at my buddy's backside, patting him on the back, telling him it's going to be okay, talking it out, and being at the nightclub at the same time. And I think that's one of the biggest choices of our lifetime, is to be there for ourselves and for our friends and for serious situations, or is it be there at a certain situation because we want someone else to be jealous of us? I'll never forget, we were on the 62-foot yacht, and this girl, still fucking traveling the world doing her own thing, by the way. This fucking weed is amazing. I don't know if you can see it, but nice and purpley. I guess I should show it off real quick. Nice and purpley. Got the Weed Club card. We're gonna smoke it right now, bro. I'm gonna smoke pot till I bring out. Yeah, sounds like they got him to a bike and then they fucked him bad, bro. He's paying 27.9%. He's almost paying 30%. And they've given him no record for 2 years paying on a bike, $300 a month, 350, whatever it is. And there's no record of his improving his credit. And they're taking 30 cents of every dollar every time he went a payment. And now that he's learning about his credit, guess what he just found out? That $280 payment, $200 goes to interest and only $80 goes to the principal of the loan. That's highway robbery. So now it's going to make you get to another job that's making the $2,000, $2,500, $3,000 a month just to CYA and cover your ass. So he was scared. And, it's not something that we talk about that often, us as men. I'm talking about mental health matters, and November's a mental health matters month. But, us as men, we don't get to talk about when we're scared. Scared that someone's going to leave us, scared that someone's going to kill our babies, scared that we're not going to be able to make our payments. There's so much fear in us, and it starts fucking with us, dude. And then we start the fear, part of it, fear, FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. Setting us in a stray to not be happy of where we are. I was happy to be warm inside and having some smoke with my friend and not rushing around and blowing off my feet. I was happy. Of course, there's other things that would make me happier. And in that comparison, I don't respect my current situation. And that's what ends up happening. I think we don't identify just how awesome we got it already. I think we're always going to do ourselves a disservice by comparing ourselves to someone else. We're always going to be like, oh, that dude's got the girlfriend, that guy's got the car, but we don't know how many hours he had to give up to get that situation. You know what I mean? How many hours was he in full-on monk mode, making his life a reality instead of a travesty? And that's something that we all got to realize is like, yeah, sure, someone is having the time of their life right now, like Meeting Your Heroes we were talking about yesterday, but we don't realize how much energy had to be put into it and expended. We think it's just right there with it and everything's going to be okay. No, you're going to have to measure your energy. It's not going to be 1,000% all the time. And I think that's what happens with a lot of us. Billionaire blunt, baby, billionaire blunt. Is we think that everybody has it so much better than us. We get to look at their highlights, their moments, and only the highlights, only the moments, and not see that they probably had to work for 2 weeks straight to go to that concert, or now they have to work the other shift because they asked for the time off, and now that they got the time off, it's someone else's turn to be up on some new shit and doing some cool shit. And the wheel churns as the world churns, Oh man, this weed is strong. It's got me itching on my nose. But as the world turns, we don't know what the spin's doing. We don't know why we're on this side of the planet and someone else is on the other side of the planet, and what events we're gonna be at and what's gonna transpire when we're at those events. No one knows the future, and for us to predict that our future would have been different, the outcome would be different, does us a disservice to what we actually made a choice on. And that's something that I feel like a lot of us are doing, that comparison living instead of that grateful living. And it's going to always do us a disservice as long as we're going to try to say, oh, my life's not as good as, and I do it too, dude. I get food envy, like if I watch somebody eat and they're eating something that looks really good, I'm already instantly jealous of whatever they ordered. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, I wish I would have ordered that too. Wow, that's too much. I know, 30%, bro. Yeah, I don't take out loans now. He had to build up his credit, and he wanted his bike, and he worked hard for it. He just doesn't know financing. And now, without 2 years of him having some sort of payment history, the loan is going to stay that way because now they think he has no loan history. They didn't give him credit for the 2 years of spending 30%. Now he's stuck in this payment, barely getting to make a dent into the motorcycle. And guess what's about to happen? That's right. They'll take it right back. You lost your job, all that money that you paid into it, all of it, none of it went to the principal. They only just made money off you, off the interest, and you're stuck. You're stuck without a job, you're downsized, and you're trying to have a wedding, and you're trying to have a life. There's so much pressure on us, bro. It's not even funny. Build credit with a credit card, buy anything on the credit, keep on the time, etc. Oh yeah, I've been working on them with it, but it's hard when you're not, it's not your finances, right? Everybody has their own plan for their financial future. Everybody has their own patterns. I'm not much one. I've sent the things to my friends on cards to build up their credit and certain things they can do. But here we all are. If they're putting something so flashy in front of you, it's almost the same as rappers. They give you a per diem, they give you an advance, and then you're like, yeah, let me go get this chain. And right before they take out taxes, you're making a big purchase like a taxes, or I mean a chain or a car, and there it is, the fear of missing out. You're like, well, I worked so hard, I gotta have a car, man. That's the least of it, right? And then you're like, well, that $1 million advance is really only 500,000. And once you put a down payment on a house and you bought a car and you did all these things, now you owe 30% interest rate on money that you just borrowed, a small loan in advance. And it's hard for people to understand that. They just want the flash and not the cash. And that's going to be something for all of us to understand, is like you're doing FOMO, watching videos of dudes doing you're gonna spend that money music videos when he's not even spending the money. He's getting on videos of other rappers, and it's fucking genius. If you do your buddy Little Ducky and shit, is getting this $100,000 or whatever, how much it is to make a music video, and he wanted, I'm gonna save that money, you know what I mean? And it's like a lot of people, they'd much rather pay for a huge, Snoop Dogg video, $500,000, $250,000 for Snoop Dogg to show up, sing his verse, go cameras rolling, get me out of here. You better make it fast. I just want to make this cash. So some of us are out there doing the fast life, trying to catch up with the Joneses, not resting ourselves, not choosing our energy properly, and bumping into the world. And that's the emergency of our lives. I guess it takes 2 fucking fire trucks and an ambulance to go outside of my show to get this point to go. But that's what kind of emergency that we're in. We're in this, there's an imperative here. There's an imperative for us to live our lives now, and not against people or not against the grain, but something that has a little more flow and balance, and something that has a little more choice, and not just because it's an event, but because you want to exist, And that's what a lot of us only do. We only exist when there's an event or there's something going on, and in between times we're staying on the couches, flicking our lives away, and only show up when it's time to glow up. And I wanted people to be in their lives. I wanted them to have a part of it, always working for them instead of against them. And that's something that's hugely important. It's like, don't work against yourself. you know Working against yourself is counterproductive. You're always going to have somebody that's working harder or does something longer, but you don't know when they have to rest. And that's where this adage comes from. You're sharpening your axe. The other guy's chopping wood, and he's like, every hour, or when I would break for lunch, you would stop chopping and you would come back with more wood. And I'm trying to figure out, how did you chop more wood than me? And the truth is because they were sharpening their axe. So now I'm awake, and now I can have conversations with people like this. That started this phone call with some of my aces, and I'm not sleeping through the phone call. I'm up early, like 7 a.m., and I'm present here in my mind to hold conversations and negotiations with people instead of blowing them off and trying to figure it out later. I'm here, present, and accountable for. So let's bless up to with each other. This is my first blunt of the day, billionaireblunt.com. And this is some weed from my boys, Adam Dunn. I think this one's called Trinity. It's one of the seeds and genetics that he's grown himself. So it's really cool to get to wake and bake to some fresh stuff and not fear what I missed out on, but grateful that I had some rest and that I could stay sober. Let's go. When everything gets boring, I have to remember to be grateful for my sobriety. I used to have a wild life. I used to have a life that required, like I talked yesterday, meeting my hero, or meeting. She's not my hero, but it's a girl that I had a crush on, and to see her doing lines of blow was just so disappointing to me. I had high expectations for her, and she had low expectations for herself. So as long as you see things that are shiny, it's the monkey trap. It's only got to be shiny for you. It doesn't have to be shiny for everyone. Everyone goes to the concert. Everything's lights and sounds, and it's overstimulation, and you're thinking you're having the time of your life. When your life is going by every day, you're having the time of your life. Your time is dripping away like an hourglass, and that is your time of your life. Us are only coming alive when we think it's time to be shiny for an Instagram post, or we only come alive when there's a camera on us or something to this effect. I'm telling you right now, most of my best moments are not on this thing. I had to earn my way to go live. I'm only staying consistent because that's what type of person I am, and I wanted to be consistent with the message. But the truth is that most of the time I don't have a 5G connection. Most of the time my phone won't go live. Sometimes I just record the video because I have such a cool life and I'm grateful for the life that I have. But sometimes I just get to enjoy it. That's right. Sometimes it's just sit back, relax, and enjoy the moment. And I think a lot of us are jealous of other people's moments that they're enjoying instead of being ourselves and just enjoying. And that's what I wanted to do. I want to be enjoying my life. I wanted to be enjoying myself at a different level. I wanted to be able to say that wherever I am, there I am. And I don't have to be somewhere else. I don't have to impress somebody else. I don't have to overdo it and overexert myself because I know the balance of it. I know what it takes to blast off on some cocaine and then or blast off on some whiskey, churn it up, say money ain't a thing, and then next thing I know, I wake up in the morning and there's no money and there is no thing, and now I have to not wake up in the morning. I'm waking up in the later afternoon, and I'm eating foods that aren't good for me because it has to absorb the alcohol and the oils in my stomach, and it fucked me up the other day. Like I had a relapse, and it was just like, man, I'm not a drinker. It's not me. And sure, it was Halloween, but now it's almost another month gone, and I'm so grateful that I didn't have to hop on a line of blow to make myself feel okay, or to drink some alcohol and to make myself feel okay in that moment, but definitely not okay later. Just grateful, bro. And I can only tell you that because it's transpired to this now. So it's like if everyone had more of a affinity for what is now and what is important. Yep, drinking is ugly and messy, bro. Yeah, and you think you want to live in the moment. You're like, yeah, this is my moment, bro. Let's turn up, money, anything. And then it's just like, you ain't gonna have no money. Music industry is a scam too. Yeah, bro, all of this stuff. Music companies, some shiny things, man. Make sure you pay your phone bills in times, etc. Music companies give that deal, then they fund the music, and then they pay it back. Yeah, catch 22s, bro. All of us want to have the girl in the music video and the car and the mansion, and then we don't realize that all these artists are selling us on an idea that they don't even own. They don't own the mansion, they're renting it out. Just like the women, just like the cars, it's all rented, and that's what we're doing. We're envious of somebody's rented time and a production and a Hollywood set versus actualization and ownership. That's what we should be. We're fighting over the block that our mama's renting. You know what I mean? Like my mom's renting this house. I'm on the couch, bro. This is as real as it gets, and it is a Section 8 housing. So I mean, it's a nice apartment. I'm grateful that we have a roof over our head, but I also know that I want to be able to have ownership where someone doesn't get to come inside the home and tell me if I can grow weed or do what I want to do. And I don't have neighbors, so I don't have to smell their food or listen to them. And there's certain things that I might have to give up on FOMO so I have a real motherfucking life, bro. That's what I want. A real motherfucking home, Not a real motherfucking post. I'd rather have a home than a post. I'd rather have a friend than subscribers. I'd rather have real time happening that I don't have to grab my phone. That's where I'm at with it. Just this is a reality of it, that it's my reality and it's not unrealistic and twisted. And I got one more minute to go, so I'll drop this. Tony Hsieh, multi-millionaire, billionaire, a half quarter of a billionaire, just fucked off in the last of his days, just doing nitrous oxides and people sneaking him drugs, and he's eating, chewing cigarettes. The dude was fucked off, and he couldn't tell the difference between reality and dystopia. And most of us want to live in this utopia, but it's a dystopia. It's a figment of our imaginations. It's not a real perfect place. It's something that we have of put in place of awesomeness, and that's what ended up leading this man down a shallow grave and an early death. So if you ever get a chance, go watch about Tony Hsieh. I can post the comment below about his real deal. It's a mess, bro. To be that influential and that successful and that rich, and then you ain't got shit, and it's all happened the way that he didn't want it to be intended. Watch where you intend your energy. Intending energy. That's where I want this to be. So on my heart from the start, your boy Marky Saints Addiction. Peace and love. And as always, Chigathon. That means goodbye, but not forever. And I will see you on the other side as soon as you like, share, and subscribe. Ciao. Comment below. Peace.